Miguel, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Thank you, Elias. Happy to be here.
Exciting times, my friend. You got two projects that have recently. Well, you have one that's coming out end of July, I think. Is that what it is?
That's correct. Yes,
And
yes,
then
end of
you
July.
just finished a recent one, Sierra Madre. You've been busy. I've been doing some research on you. You've been busy.
It's been a busy couple of years lately, and yeah, I got many shows coming out. We started off this year with Sierra Madre on HBO, which is now on Max platform. All of HBO is on Max. So we just uploaded the whole season into the platform. It's been an amazing ride with Sierra Madre because it's been quite a phenomenon here in Mexico. Talking about it's sort of like a succession politicians and some sort of elite society. It's kind of, yeah, it's all a mix, like Succession, Narcos, and Gossip Girls, you may say, something like that, but in a
That's
Mexican
awesome.
style. So it's the way that our society in Mexico has been um, rooted in many ways, and so it goes deep into the family problematic, but as well as a social problematic that goes on in many places in Latin America and many places around the world. So how, as a leader, you have to lead with everyone that you're leading, so including the organized crime as well. So it's been quite a ride. It's been a phenomenon. People have liked it a lot, and it's been number one since it came out on the platform. And I think the word's spreading, and now it's getting more attention outside Latin America as well. And a lot of viewers from the US has been contacting me, telling me that they've been watching the series, that they really, really enjoying it. And so we're very happy with it. Very, very happy with it.
Awesome.
And then I have a new series coming out as well, which is this one's due to July 31st. So it's been, and I have a movie coming out, and then I have another series and another film coming out, and I have
Yeah.
more work coming out. So it's been quite a good year, a couple of years for me, and now all the fruits are coming out. So it's reaping time,
There you
I
go.
may say.
So we'll jump into the shows in a few minutes too, but let's get to know a little bit more about you. Like, what inspired you to get into the acting world? Was that always like the goal, the thought, or like, or was it something else, and then you somehow slipped into it?
I kind of slipped into it. I always felt fascinated by films. Of course, I used to watch a lot of films with my family when I was a kid, going to the cinemas, and we also, as a kid, my father used to follow us with this Super 8
Okay.
film camera all over.
Yeah.
So my favorite moment in family is getting the show ready for the family to watch our own films. So I think I have that nostalgic, very deep rooted inside of me. And then when I was going through college, I had like this vocational crisis, you may say, because I didn't know what to do with myself. Although I knew that I have potential for many different things. And then I got invited to do my first short film while I was in college as an actor. And then I discovered filmmaking, and then I discovered that I really, really wanted to make my life, get my life involved in films, because it was the most wonderful thing I've done so far. And so I committed myself to get ready as an actor after I finished college, and get into films, and here I am. So it worked out pretty well. I'm very happy that it worked out for me, because coming out from college and starting a new career, it was a coin in the air. You never knew what was going to happen. But luckily enough, I got into films. Somehow I feel like films picked me to be
There you go.
inside them in a way, and it's been 20 some years since
Wow.
then, a little more. Well, since I debuted professionally, and that was like 30 years ago, I would say. So that's how it all started.
What was the backup goal if you didn't make it into the entertainment industry?
Well, I majored in marketing.
Okay.
And I was actually during my when I was going through drama school part-time, I would work in a research qualitative agency. So I did a lot of focus groups. I did a lot of analysis and a lot of also presentations because I had the qualifications for it. So pretty much I worked in an agency that it was quite successful. We even had a presentation in one of those, international the research organizations all over the world, the European Society of Marketing Research, ESOMAR. We had our own, we show our own study in Berlin once and stuff. But my acting, I had my acting going on, my acting career going on. I put a producing company with another director friend of mine as well. So he was working all sidelines. So I said, whatever works, I'm just gonna go for it. If this doesn't work, I have this going on. So I have to protect myself a little bit, but happily enough, acting absorbed me completely, and my time was devoted for it. And of course, I started making a living out of it, and I'm still here.
That's right.
So
What's been like, like you've done this now for so many years, your family's reaction now, like seeing you on TV and film?
Well, I'm not really sure they really liked the idea at the beginning.
Okay.
My family is more like business-oriented family. We're in the agricultural business in this beautiful state of Sinaloa, up in the Pacific North. And so they would normally expect me to, keep going with the family business as a farmer and business in the agricultural business. But then I went through so much crisis when I was like a teenager, and they knew that I had to pick something that would make me happy, So I have to stand up for the family. Luckily enough, they realized that that was my path, and they decided to support me if that was what was going to make me happy. Of course, they were little cautious about it as well as I was. So the fact that I had like this side business, sideline business in case things didn't work out, gave them a little peace. But then they saw me how things started working out from the very beginning. Since I finished drama school, I got picked up for my first feature film as a protagonist. And it was a film called El Tigre de Santa Julia, which is the Tiger of St. Julia. It's a Mexican Robin Hood legend. Okay. And so we did that film. Nobody knew who I was. And part of the reason why they picked me for the leading role was because they wanted the audience to look at me and say, oh, that's El Tigre. That's not someone, whatever name is, doing El Tigre. So he's El Tigre. And it worked out pretty well. For a couple of years, people called me Tiger, all the time. They wouldn't even know my name was Miguel or Miguel Rodarte. And that was like the first 2 years of my management, working with my management career, was for people to get to know my name, because they were strongly driven to call me Tiger because of the role I played as in my first film. So but it worked out pretty well. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Definitely. So yeah, so let's jump down to Sierra Madre too. Like we see you as Marcos. Like how were you approached for this series? Did you work on past projects with the creators, producers, and they knew they wanted you? How did it all happen?
No, it was the first time I worked with this showrunner. Actually, the creators, I knew him before. Okay. Because one of them is a very prestigious researcher and journalist in Mexico who has a very clear view how's the tissue formed within politics and society and organized crime in Mexico. So he's been doing that his whole life. And then this is the first time Gabriel Nuncio makes his show running a show. So it was a first shot for him. He did an amazing job by picking me. No, he did an amazing job by doing everything he did. but I have a very my reference. Everything in Sierra Madre happens in one of the districts in Mexico, one of the municipalities in Mexico that is the richest income per people per capital how do you say per people in Latin America. Okay. Is where the land is most expensive in all Latin America. So it's the richest little district in the whole Latin America region. So you must imagine all the fortunes that are accumulated there through industry. And my character comes from one of those families who were founders of the city where I went to college at. So it's kind of like spending 5 years in college in Monterrey, where it all happens, especially in this little district called San Pedro. It gave me a nice, since then, when I was living in Monterrey, I could hear the accent and I would always imitate them, you know, like the locals while I was in college. So I would have like I already had like a nice perspective of that whole region and how it worked and how it's cultural, you know, it's got a little particularities to it. And so I have a very good chance to live it. As we said, almost 30 years ago, but going back nowadays and just put everything into like real perspective and into the story, it was a natural beginning for me. It was a nice culture that I like to step into because I was already familiar to it. But then the story has a lot of particularities, and that percentage of the elite that we that we show in the show is a very small percentage if you look at it in terms of world population. These people that have all this kind of fortune is almost just 1% of the population. So go deep into how they behave, how do they relate to each other, how they have like this other things like this internal codes that they you know, they relate to each other and they can read it very clearly. And so getting to know what were their motivations and what would make them vulnerable. It was pretty much what I was focused on for the character, and just give him like a solid nucleus being form of being, so that you can react to everything around him. So so that's pretty much how I approached the character and how it all happened. And the whole series was filmed in Monterrey, the city that I went to college at. And so that was also a plus to come and get out of Mexico City and tell stories from this different perspective as well.
Now, has there been talks now for like another season? Have you heard anything? Because like you said you guys have had good feedback on the show.
Very good feedback, and I'm getting all these answers from the fans who are actually not asking for a second, demanding a second, like a second season, like on capitals letters. We want second season now. You know, I think the series it created such an impact in the audience that now they're all like looking at it and saying, "Hey, we want more." You know, it's like it felt short. You know, it felt short because it's like, this is we want more. This is not enough. Although I think it's a very rounded season, and the ending is just majestic. I don't want to talk about it too much because you don't want to spoil that. But it's so beautiful the way that it's in terms of storytelling and how the whole story comes out, and how it kind of like pauses or finish it in a second season. You know, things series is always like that. You will always have a continuation after you finish watching a whole season. And we're hoping that to get Discovery Warner Bros telling us that we are going to start a new season soon. Hopefully.
Nope. Hopefully. Well, now what can you tell us about your next project in Apple TV?
Oh, well, that's called Woman in Blue, I think it's called in English, right? Woman in Blue. Well, how would you know? I'm telling you. In Mexico, we call them las azules. Azul is the Spanish word for blue, and it was actually the color of the uniforms that the first elite, the first woman.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you say in
I
English?
saw the trailer. Yeah, the uniform.
The uniform is blue, so they used to call
Yeah,
them las azules, the blue, the woman in blue. That's what they used to call them when
yeah,
the first um, woman police corporation came out in Mexico. This is the
yeah.
first division of that of women police in Mexico in 1971, and it's a story about this whole corporation, especially these four women who are pioneers in their time, coming out of their houses or whatever lives they had, and starting a new job that typically was for men to be for men. So you can imagine how much struggle they went through while doing this, and fighting for a place within the corporation and the police organization as well, because at the beginning they just wanted to have them as ornaments, like mini skirts and nice,
Yeah.
go-go boots. And so that's the show's coming out on July 31st. I'm doing Captain Romandia, which is actually uh, the person who forms them as police in the academy, and who will also be in charge of them throughout the whole story. So we're very excited. It's a film about, it happened in 1971. Just the fact that you're watching a different era, it kind of like just, transports you there and takes you there as an audience. It's a beautiful feeling to have, like, it has this a universe of its own in terms of aesthetics and in terms of the times. And so that makes it very, very attractive as well. And of course, the story, and of course, the actors and the actresses there as well. They're just fantastic. So we'll get to see another solid, good show on
Right.
Apple TV, and we'll hope you like it.
I love Apple TV. I don't know about you. It seems like they push out less content, but their content is good.
Oh, definitely. Yes, they're a little more into the curating, if you say, of
Yeah.
what they show in their platforms. They're also, every show they come out with is also showed internationally, which
Yeah.
is like every show we take, it's good enough to be seen worldwide,
Mm.
right? So he's got the signature, he's got we kind of like legitimize the product because it's Apple TV is betting for good stories, good productions, and something that you really, really want to watch. And I think this is one of those, and Apple TV is super happy with it as well, as we understand. And now we hope that the audience is also very happy with it. So in terms of, and then we'll see if there's a second season. I hope there is. But this first season, I'm sure you're gonna love it. It's very intriguing. It's got a lot. It's got different, like, this how do you say, like investigation kind
Yeah.
of like series where there is this crime and then you go after the crime, and then and then a lot of family issues also happen, romantic situations that happen. So it's very, very attractive.
Now the big question is, you've done all these projects. Have you taken a break? Have you gone on vacation or anything? Have you relaxed?
Yes, I have.
There you go.
Fortunately, not for long though, but I did last year. I finished. It was three projects in a row. I finished in August, I think, or it was September, and then I went to South America for 40 days. I went to
Wow.
Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, it was amazing. And then I came back and started working now on the promotion of these shows. And I'm just about to leave in a couple of weeks as well to go work on a new series, which I can't talk about it. A new film as well. I can't talk about it, but we got enough coming out, so we'll
Amazing.
get we'll get to those later. But so it's gonna start getting busy again, which is okay. I love working, creating characters which are very different and diverse ones from each other, um, on projects that I really resonate with and that I
Mm.
believe in. The stories are strong enough, and they have like something that you can relate to, but as well get that makes you reflect on something, right? So it gives you a sense of introspection in many ways, I think, and that's how I start choosing the kind of projects that I like to work on. So very, very lucky and very, very fortunate to be able to work on this, and at least on these two projects are, you know, the ones that just came out, Sierra Madre and the Las Azules, Woman in Blue, that are coming out now on July 31st.
That's awesome. Miguel, now, like, let's end this by like, how can the viewers and listeners keep up with you on social media so they can see your future projects and the projects you can't announce, but soon you'll announce them? How can they
Well,
find you?
I've been very active in social media lately because of all the promotion and stuff, and also, well, I'm basically I'm on Instagram. You know, my last name is Rodarte, just like the like the fashion brand design, like the designers, Rodarte. So you can find me as Rodarte Pop, which is Rodarte Pop. And that's on Instagram. Of course, you can also find me on Facebook. That's a little like aged sort of social media, but there a lot of it's linked through there. It's Miguel Rodarte / actor. And also, well, Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, Instagram is the best place where you can find where I'm at and what's the new things that are coming out. And well, just in general, just let your audience know that all these shows that are coming out from Mexico are in Spanish, but you also have the chance to watch them dubbed in English, or you can also read the little subtitles. But I as I mentioned, I received many messages from friends in the US that have been watching the show and I have been enjoying it a lot, so they get hooked up. So just invite your audience as well to check it out on HBO, Sierra Madre, and just be aware that it's Woman in Blue is also coming out. When you see it after July 31st, well, check it out as well.
There you go. This is great, Miguel. I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today. And when you get the new projects, come back on. We'll finish this conversation. We'll talk about the new stuff.
Oh yes. This conversation is gonna go on and go on. And Elias, thank you so much for having me on your show. Nice talking to you, and I hope to talk to you soon.